Welcome back to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. Today is Wednesday, September 25th, 2019. Welcome to our evening edition of the Grand Solar Minimum news update for this evening. Let's get right started with our space weather outlook. Right now our solar winds are calm before the storm, so I should say. We are expecting increased solar wind speeds on the way on the 27th to 28th of September, but right now they're sitting at 389.5 kilometers per second with a density of 6.1. We're spotless still, nothing changed from this morning, 22 days in a row, 193 for 2019. TCI also unchanged at 411. KP indices are sitting at a 1 with a 24-hour max of about a 4. And let's go ahead and take a look at the SDO in motion. And that is what our coronal hole looks like. It is now Earth facing, turning away. Like I said, we should see the effects from this on the 27th through the 28th. And NOAA forecasters are expecting G2 storm levels from this coronal hole. Let's take a look at our TSI here for September. I do believe that is going to be September 15th. No, September 17th. 2019, our TSI came in at 1360.65. So again, crawling at a snail's pace, no change really in the last couple of days, if not 2 weeks. All right, let's get right into it tonight's show. Please forgive me, folks. Thought I'd beat this cold, but I think it's coming back to get me again. Fake book, false news, Grand Solar Minimum live. That's right, folks, fake book. Now, interesting story. I read a article where Trump is now promising that places like Facebook and other platforms are going to promise transparency. So we'll see. But here we go. Before we start into the show, I'd like to show a little bit of footage. This morning I reported about an EF2 tornado that happened in Wisconsin. And thank you to Jesse for help finding some footage here. This is really good aerial footage here of the damage from this EF2 tornado. I saw other videos, homemade videos actually. A gentleman standing outside and letting debris hit him as he filmed. So folks, I can't stress this enough. Make sure that we are safe when we are taking pictures of any kind of storm, whether it be a snowstorm, or a tornado or a flood. The safety is first on this topic, guys. So just wanted to say that first, but amazing footage. Once again, thanks to our friend up in Wisconsin, Jesse. And also, this is now the 5th tornado that this has now happened within an hour radius of Jesse this year alone. So living in Wisconsin is not really tornado alley, you wouldn't think. But for Jesse this year, he's gotten 5 within a radius of an hour away from his home. So that's quite the number. I don't even think folks that live in Tornado Alley have had that many in the same area. So unfortunate and unusual weather there up north. Let's keep it weather related here. Monsoon downpours to drench nearly all of India this week as withdrawal delay continues. We haven't done some world news in a while as far as weather events. It's just not being covered as frequently as we would like to see it. It says here, while September usually marks the start of southwest monsoon withdrawal, downpours will instead expand across nearly the entire country this week. A monsoon low will slowly move across the northern half of the country this week, bringing downpours from Kolkata to Mumbai. Drier weather will build into the southeast India beginning on Thursday, causing downpours to become more localized from Tamil Nadu into Andhra Pradesh. Despite the risk of localized flooding, any rainfall in eastern Tamil Nadu will be largely beneficial as the region continues to endure a significant drought. Daily downpours will continue farther north across Odisha, West Bengal, Jharkhand, and Bihar from Thursday into the weekend, elevating the risk for flooding. Monsoon low will track westward across central India and western India from Wednesday into the weekend, the daily downpours that is. Flooding is possible during the time. While the heaviest rainfall will remain farther to the south, much of the northwest India, including New Delhi, will be at risk for scattered showers and thunderstorms from midweek into the weekend. The widespread coverage of the rainfall this week will mean that nearly the entire country will report Rainfall at some time, a rare event during late September. Locations across Pakistan will also be at risk for localized downpours from Thursday into the weekend. This threat includes Karachi. The risk of flooding and mudslides will be heightened in the areas endured multiple rounds of heavy rain last week as a different monsoon low tracked over the region. Reading on here at AccuWeather.com, the monsoon low that brought last week's downpours moved across the Arabian Sea and became a severe cyclone, Hakia, on Monday with winds equal to a tropical storm in the Atlantic Ocean. Hakia strengthened further prior to reaching the central coast of Oman on Tuesday evening local time. Hakia has since dissipated over the Arabian Peninsula. By the coming weekend, the monsoon low, thank you for the Capital One commercial, the monsoon low will be responsible for this week's downpours will move off to the shore of Gujarat and Maharashtra. This low will be the monitored potential tropical development as it moves over warm waters in the Arabian Sea. Downpours from this potential tropical system may threaten areas from Gujarat into southern Pakistan into early next week. So lots to talk about. This area, they're waiting for their monsoon season to end, and yet we are going to see a rain event across the entire country in the same day, and that's a very rare occasion where everyone gets some kind of rain on the same day. If you guys look over here to the right, I'm going to zoom on this real quick. This is some of the footage last night. Very scary stuff, guys, when you're looking at a sky, lightning flashes, and you see this tornado heading right at you. And again, I can't stress enough the oddness of tornadoes this late in the year, especially that far up north. And the only thing I can think of is that, man, do we have some cold air up in that atmosphere. All right, let's move. We were talking about India now, Pakistan, by the way, India, with all the rain on top of that. Now this was today, a powerful 5.8 magnitude earthquake rattled northern Pakistan on Tuesday afternoon local time. The earthquake was centered between Islamabad and Lahore in Pakistan, occupied Kashmir, and was felt as far away as New Delhi. And here is some of the footage of that. This is a 5.8. Goodness. Definitely a sign of things might have got a little downplayed here. My gosh. Roads, cars, a mess. Look at this. The damage continues, folks. At least 25 people have been killed and more than 450 have been injured, according to Reuters. These numbers may rise as rescue efforts continue across the region. The most damage in the areas was between Jahum and Bapur, said the Lieutenant General Mohammed Afazi, the chief of police in Pakistan's National Disaster Management Authority. Social media reports illustrated the scope of destruction following the trembler, including damaged buildings and massive cracks in roadways that swallowed automobiles across northern Pakistan. Witnesses reported at least one building collapsed as well as several walls due to the major quake. Power outages were reported in the area. However, power was mostly restored in hardest hit areas by this afternoon. The Pakistan military has been mobilized to conduct immediate rescue operations. Mainly dry weather will prevail through Wednesday night across the region, aiding in rescue and recovery efforts. A rare surge of late September rainfall will reach the areas affected by Thursday and remain in place until the weekend. So a very small window of very dry weather before we could see some potential more rainfall, heavy rainfall, and some light minor flash flooding. Global warming. We saw the video yesterday. Mari made it. I know a lot of you probably thought, not another Greta video. I think the thing about that video that Mari made yesterday definitely triggered me. I know that. I couldn't even watch it at first. The first 30 seconds of the video I was angry. This girl's very, very, very talented as an actress. And it's obvious too. And I want to bring up one point too before I go into this article here, because this is talking about hypocrite. Greta Thunberg and allies file climate complaint against 5 countries. China's not one of them. Yeah. But what I wanted to say is, do you guys notice the difference between AGW side and the sunspot theory side? Let's just call it that. On the sunspot theory side of things, like channels like Mari and I here at Grand Solar Minimum Channel, we provide you evidence from scientists. John Casey, Valentina Zarkova, Heinrich Svensmark, Dr. Jasper Kirksby, and many, many others that we cover on this channel. Again, these are all scientists that are coming out with this information. But when you look to the AGW side of things, you don't get scientists. You get Bill Nye, you get Greta, you get Al Gore, who is a good actor. By the way, Greta is listed in the UK as an actress. Arnold Schwarzenegger, another actor. And of course, Crazy O Cortez, who is also an actress and a bartender on the side. So everybody that's telling us that the world is ending are actors or actresses. Think about that for a minute. Where are the scientists? The real, not Bill Nye. No, not these celebrities like George Clooney and Jim Carrey and Brad Pitt and all these other celebrities that talk about global warming. Why is it that the hysteria comes from these trusted celebrities or supposed trusted celebrities? Something to think about, guys. All right. So I wanted to read off the countries that had complaints filed against them. Swedish teen climate alarmist Greta Thunberg and 15 other children filed a complaint to the United Nations accusing 5 countries of inaction on combating so-called climate change. You're going to laugh. Listen to this. Argentina, Brazil, France, Germany, and Turkey, all failing to fulfill their obligations to act against climate change. Now, Germany is struggling with electricity bills right now. So they are actually one of the only countries that's, how should we say this, aggressive towards the new Green Deal type policies. France is the birthplace of the Paris Treaty. And yet I find it that the 2 of the 5 complaints come from areas that are really giving this an honest try, this CO2 emissions. So now these 15-year-olds are going to complain to you because you didn't meet your goals. How does that make you feel, by the way, being scolded by a child who's in high school? We all thought we could stand on top of a mountain and rule the world at age 15 through 18. I remember those days. In fact, I probably didn't get any sense in me until I was about 25 to 30, honestly. So how are we supposed to sit here as a country? I mean, after yesterday, watching that painful video of her actress skills, basically you're being yelled at and you're being shamed and you're being scolded by this 15-year-old who provided some numbers that the IPCC gave her. Interesting. China didn't do anything in the climate protest, good for them. But if we're talking about the ones that are participating, the ones that should have a complaint, why is China getting a free pass? I mean, it can't be part of the please don't upset the Chinese, we're trying to work out a trade deal type thing. I doubt that. So China gets off the hook for not participating in the climate strike, and China gets off the hook for not taking enough action in climate change. So how can you say anything to anybody else in the world if you're not willing to file a complaint against the world's largest CO2 emitting country? Point blank. Other than that, it's a dead case. Move on. But you're going to go after countries like Turkey, Argentina, Brazil. Those 3 countries right there, that's mind-boggling. Those are not countries that we should be scared of as far as if CO2 emissions were an issue. Those three countries are definitely not the problem. France is the birthplace of the treaty, and Germany is struggling with their electricity bills because of how much green and solar and wind they've actually started using. They are trying really hard and aggressively to hit those goals. So imagine being the leader of Germany, of France, Turkey, Argentina, and Brazil, getting this report, this complaint from children ages 14 to 16. You know, it's crazy. We live in a crazy world right now. The 16 petitioning children range from ages 8 to 17 years old, guys, and hail from Argentina, Brazil, France, Germany, India, Marshall Islands, Nigeria, Palau, South Africa, Sweden, Tanzania, and the United States. 8 years old to 17. Really wish I had Mari's Twitter feed up and ready to go. I could probably pull it up, couldn't I? Yeah. So I know we'll move on from Greta here just in a quick second here, but I wanted to share this with you guys because
I was wanting to see Lily's reaction video.
That's where I'm going. And the reason why
you said that, I was just talking.
Well, the only reason why I want to show them this video is because the age range is between 8 and 17, and Lily is 9 years old. Okay.
I have to put desktop audio.
Yeah, I'm going to. Just give me a second here. So, this is Lily, which I think she should be the face of global cooling, but that's just me, right?
Make it bigger.
Mari had played bits of this video for Lily to be the judge. Let's see what Lily has to say after listening to about 5 seconds of Greta.
People are dying.
No, it's not gonna.
Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of mass extinction.
They didn't show?
No, you gotta do full screen and you just gotta zoom in with your finger. Yeah, that'll. Their face is priceless.
All right, let's listen up here.
People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of mass extinction. What you can talk about?
Well, that about wraps it up. So that was our 9-year-old's reaction to this 14, 15-year-old girl who is angry at all of us. And I don't know. You know, it's interesting to see her. Now, that's just one child. I mean, maybe others are ecstatic and that's their hero, Greta. But, you know, our daughter is a normal 9-year-old. She likes ballet. She likes unicorns. She likes cats. She's really good at math. And that's what she cares about. And by God, there won't be a day where she misses school to go protest. And there won't be a day where she is disrespectful to adults who've been on this earth long enough to know better and know how to. Obviously, we're not pimping out our child for any kind of political or climate gain. But I just thought it was interesting, the ages here from 8 to 17 years old. I remember what I was doing when I was that age. I was playing with my baseball cards and Transformers. I just find it really hard to believe that an 8-year-old child woke up one day and said, gee, I want to file a complaint against Turkey, Germany, France, Brazil, and Argentina. And I think the YouTube police are after me. I'll let them do their thing there. I'm telling too much truth out there, folks. So yeah. So Lily's reaction's priceless. Go to our Grand Soul Aluminum Twitter if you want to watch that video again. Her look really does says it. And then she calls her a weirdo. And I'm sure we're going to catch some flack for that. Oh, you can't believe you let your kid insult. That's bullying. Yeah. My 9-year-old's bullying a 15-year-old right now. Okay. Anyway, let's move on. I don't want to spend too much time with that chick anymore, honestly. So, Facebook. Now, here is a example of how the false rating works on Facebook. Here is a video that we shared on our Facebook group, How to Destroy Climate Change Hoax, by the one and only Mark Morano. And then we got this report. To fight false news, Facebook reduces the distribution of misleading content while also showing additional reporting on the same topic. Pages and websites that repeatedly publish or share misleading content will see their overall distribution reduced. Their ability to monetize and advertise will be removed, and the ability to register as news page will be removed as well. People will also be able to see if the page has a history of sharing false news. Deleting the message content or deleting the misleading content won't affect these outcomes. That's harsh. I mean, basically, Facebook is defaming channels on Facebook. But what's up with that? Did a little article on this as well for yesterday. Facebook removed a fact-check climate scientist, or after a climate scientist said a partisan fact-checking group the company uses is defaming them. Another Facebook fact-checker came under criticism after nixing an editorial from a pair of climatologists about the problems with climate models. These things are being said, nope, these are false. Now, these people on Facebook are posting actual scientific data. Some of it's peer-reviewed in journals. Some of it you can go look up on NOAA. Anyway, Facebook ruined a false label on an editorial that expresses skepticism about effectiveness of climate models after the scientist who authored the piece said the company relied on partisan activists to fact-check their opinion. A Facebook spokeswoman confirmed on background the company removed the label. The decision comes shortly after scientists Caleb Rositer and Patrick Michaels argued their point in a September 10th letter to the old Zuckerberg. They said in a letter that Facebook used partisan fact-check group to defame them. These actions by Facebook constitute censorship of science and defamation of our scholarship, the academics said in the letter, which the Daily Caller's News Foundation obtained. They appear to us to contradict Facebook's stated role as a non-partisan site for the exchange of opinion and information, which is absolutely false. Rositer is a climate statistician and the executive director for CO2 Coalition, a Virginia-based group of 50 climate scientists who use research to explain why they believe people should not be alarmed by the rise in carbon dioxide. Big emphasis on that these guys show scientific data on why CO2 is not the problem. And yet, the ad is labeled as false, fake news. The channel is punished. Now, this hasn't happened to Mario and I. We're not complaining.
What do you mean?
Well, as far as losing money and monetization on Facebook.
We're not monetized on
but
Facebook,
we're
but
getting
they're burying our page.
Right, but they're also burying our page. We've had violations from Facebook. The one thing that I would be upset about is someone who has put in the hard work to reach the the standard to get monetized on Facebook. It's hard work. You have to have, I think, 10,000 people following your page at that point. And that's a lot of work on Facebook, especially when you're being buried because their fact checkers see the words cooling and it's automatically reduced, taken away, buried. You can't find it. And we're going to take away your rights on Facebook, even though you've worked really hard. And my problem with this whole thing is that we're bringing peer-reviewed work, scientific data to the table. Again, these are scientists and people who do the research that are coming out and speaking against the censorship. This isn't George Clooney or Robert De Niro or any of these other people out there who try to tell you that climate change is going to kill us all, blah, blah, blah. Yet they still get in their $1 million homes and probably run up $1,000 or more a month in energy bills and drive their 18 cars. These rich celebrities, by the way, that tell you how CO2 is killing us, but yet they still fly in their jumbo jets, okay? They still drive and waste fossil fuels as bad as the regular person does because they can afford it. Anyway, just wanted to point this out. There's been a lot of people talking about fact checking, that good old that good old label that tells us that this is fake news. We've seen this so many times. Science feedback, fact check, inaccurate. Claim that Earth has cooled since medieval or Roman times is contradicted by the available data. So Facebook, here's my challenge to you. Put the data that contradicts what Mark Morano's saying right below in a link. Why should we take your word for it? Because you're a publisher? How do you know the people that are making these videos aren't scholars or PhDs? Some of them are. Some of them are. But yet we have some fact checker at Facebook sitting on his ass all day, getting paid by whatever group that runs Google and Facebook and all these other evil platforms that like to censor the truth. He don't care. He's giving instructions on what to look for. He's not looking for the truth. He's not looking for if the data is correct. He's looking for keywords. He or she, I should say, is looking for keywords. And if those keywords show up in the post or the video, it's false. Nope. Who cares if you got your proof? Nope. Not going to happen. Taking it down. Sorry. And we're going to tell everybody that you're a false news channel. I saw Trump make a comment about Facebook and that all social media platforms will, let me repeat this, he said this, all social media platforms will be transparent and will not take away any channel creator or user the right to free speech. That censorship is coming to a halt very, very soon. So hang in, all you folks out there who are trying to put the truth out there. I believe our day is coming and coming soon. Let's take a look at our crop report. We haven't done that in quite some time. I usually just kind of take a look. There's our drought situation to the south. Not so hateful. Again, this is nothing to where it's detrimental to the crops or anything like that. We just wanted to bring up what drought we did have. And I'm pretty sure that drought map is going to update in Arizona here very soon. Same with Texas as well. But let's get right to the meat of the bone here. Let's find those crop numbers. Our favorite handy dandy crop numbers. I really hope I can shake this cold. This is getting a little annoying. It is what it is. All right. So mature corn. I don't see any really big, well, so Indiana, by the way, maturity of corn is 26%. Right now, the 5-year average at this point is 61%. Last year this time, Indiana was at 78% maturity. Illinois, not much better, 26% mature right now, 84% last year, and the 5-year average is 71%. Wow. Let's see what else we got here. Michigan, hate to be so negative, but it's not looking good for you guys. Last year it was 43%. Right now you're sitting at 8% with a 5-year average of 35%. Minnesota, also down big time. 63% last year. This year, only 8%, a 5-year average of 44%. Missouri, not that great either. 54% mature, 88% this time last year, and the 5-year average is 80. Nebraska, not doing too bad, but not doing that great either. 65% last year this time, 37% now, with a 5-year average of 56. And really the only other one that's really worse, well, actually 2 more states. South Dakota, 12% right now, 64% last year, a 5-year average of 44. And Wisconsin, we've seen a lot of dairy farming go away, and this ain't good news for your corn crops either. 8% maturity right now, 52% this time last year, 37% is the 5-year average. So you combine the dairy, the loss of the dairy farms that we've had in Wisconsin, and now the corn crop isn't doing so hot. I really hope we have a plan in place for our farmers to support them during their time of need. We don't know what this harvest is going to look like. We don't know when they're going to be able to harvest. They're so far behind at this rate. If we waited for a full maturity and the weather cooperated, we would be in the field sometimes in first or second week of November, harvesting. So, guys can take a look at the rest of the numbers here on the crop report. Soybean condition by percent. Again, much better shape than what we've seen earlier in this year. But still a lot of work to do here, guys. And when I show you guys the weather, it doesn't really want to cooperate in the northern plains over the next several days. So we'll get right into that. Check out our t-shirts, guys, at our Teespring. A link will be on our website. Click on any of these icons here on our channel. 15% off using the promo code GSMLOVE. Mari's made a few shirts. I know this one's probably for the dark and twisted, but you know there's someone out there who's going to want this.
We haven't sold one of those AOC shirts.
Not one. Well, the AOC is more of a...
The cow fart.
Oh, the cow fart one?
Who's going to be the first one to
own
the AOC?
All right, I'll tell you what. The first person that buys an AOC t-shirt, the cow fart one, all Democrats fart or whatever it was called, Democrats fart too or whatever, send us a picture of you wearing the shirt, and we will send you out a free coffee mug, and we will give you 10 minutes of airtime on a future live show here on the Grand. I'm serious. The first person to send a picture via email wearing the Believe Me shirt will get a free coffee mug and 10 minutes of airtime to send your message out about the Grand Solar Minimum on our YouTube channel, not the Patreon, which, by the way, Patreon is growing quite nicely. For those of you who haven't been there yet for the call-in shows, we're doing them on Saturdays. Because it costs us money to do these call-in shows and do all the screenings, we're doing it 8 to 9 this Saturday. And the more callers and the more memberships we get, the more time we will spend with the callers. Right now, an hour seems to be suffice as far as what the budget's allowing us. But what's it going to cost for you guys? Well, here's how it works. Sign up for $1. That's it. I mean, there's other levels, 2, 5, 10, and so on. But we're only asking for $1. Sign up to the Patreon channel because who knows, YouTube may not be around one day. We're going to have to migrate our subscribers at some point. So sign up for $1. You get your name on the list and you get the phone number. Now, here's how this works. We do have call screening. So it's important when you do call in on the calling shows that you give us your name and your state. You don't have to tell us your city or any last name or any personal detail. But at that point, our call screener, aka Mari, will go through the list and make sure that you are a current Patreon member. So there are people who may think, this is a great way to call in on the show and steal some limelight from the Grand Solar Minimum. That's not going to happen. That's what the call screening is for. And so anybody who just signs up for the month and then cancels after your month is up, unfortunately, the number that you have will no longer work for the call-in show unless you renew your monthly subscription for $1. That's $1, guys. You know those commercials that say, that's a cup of coffee a day? Well, this is like, finding pennies on the dashboard a day type deal when you look at the yearly cost. If you want to do it for the full year, $1 a month is $12. Right now, our channel is growing. We're going to put more and more content as we move along. And I have an interesting announcement to make, actually. Mari, I didn't get to talk to you about this, and I wanted to, but it's been busy lately. We have a gentleman that I'm going to be bringing into one of our live shows. And I haven't decided if it's going to be a YouTube thing or a Patreon thing. And I think everybody should decide in the chat. You'll probably want it on the YouTube channel. But this gentleman...
In the chat, too.
Who? Jesse. Well, Jesse is one of them. So we do have Jesse. We have a future date with Jesse as well. And we're going to talk about growing and stuff like that and the things that he's experienced in Wisconsin. So we do have a future show with Jesse. So that's not the one. But thank you for reminding me of Jesse. So we got Jesse coming up, who's going to be a wealth of information. He is definitely going to be on the YouTube channel. But the other individual, his name is Ron. And this man lives up in the mountains. And he showed me pictures of his house. This guy's so off-grid, he's only been into a Walmart one time. So he says. But the story I want to share with Ron is he is truly living off the land as we speak. And that's the thing about the people that live up here in the mountains. A lot of them are already used to this. So a grand solar minimum type condition, this is going to be a breeze. I said to him, I was like, how do you stay warm in the mountains in the wintertime if you're using solar power? Well, he's got an 8-sided house with windows in each wall that's insulated with R40, okay? Follow me here, folks. The floor is made out of black granite. So guess what happens to the floor when the sun comes shining in, beating down on the floor all day long? You guessed it. A well-insulated house is going to keep it heated. So there's no furnace in this guy's house. This is all strictly from the sun coming in through the window. Now I know what you're thinking. What about the days where it's cloudy outside? Very good. Very good. I'm sure he has alternative source of heating, but for the most part, he tells me during the wintertime that he has to shut the curtains just to keep the heat from being too intense inside of his house. It's not a very big house, but he lives on 16 acres of land. It's absolutely gorgeous. He's got a woodshed that's strategically placed out in front of his house that will break the wind from the north. So in other words, when you walk up, open up his door and a northerly wind is coming at his house, he doesn't feel it because the woodshed is there to divide the wind where it goes around his house. Anyway, I spent some time talking to this guy, about 15, 20 minutes. Fascinating man. Lives off the land, has a job. He stays low key, no credit cards, no bank, works for cash. He's a chef by trade, but he really knows his stuff. So I'm thinking it's probably going to be a YouTube theme because I think it's going to reach more people. And just listening to this guy, what he does on a daily basis, is just to help build some reality that, hey, this kind of living is doable. And there's several people out there that are doing it, and they're doing it in the mountains. I know another person that lives out in the mountains that tells me about all their prepping and their gardens and their chicken coops and their wood burning stoves. These folks up here, I think they're ready for it. They know it's going to be bad. And this gentleman, Ron, even told me that. We didn't even get to talk about climate change. He just told me he knew this winter was going to be really bad just because he has experience living outside. This is what he does his whole life. So he doesn't need my channel or the news media to tell him that we got some bad weather coming up here in the next few years. He already knows. So I'm going to bring him on. I think the YouTube channel, I think it'd be very beneficial. I think we could all learn something from this gentleman. All right, let's take a look at some more weather before we wrap it up. Yep, we're still watching a couple storms. Jerry and Lorenzo and Karen are the big newsmakers, but no one's really talking about what could be happening in the Gulf. We expect a large counterclockwise wind pattern to develop over Central America in the coming days, according to AccuWeather meteorologist Dan Katawski. A broad circulation such as this is referred to a gyre by meteorologists, and such a pattern could create conductive environment for additional tropical systems to form. Notice how it says systems. Now, we do have a 10% chance of development on a spot that we are looking at right now in the Gulf. And I'll get my... This happens every time. Okay. So this area right here is already marked for 10% chance over the next 5 days. That track is heading towards Mexico. But when you hear the word systems, it makes you wonder if we could have one here and, of course, affect the same area of Houston in the Gulf. Still plenty of time for hurricanes and tropical storms. We are still in season. I was corrected. I told everyone November 1st was the end of hurricane season. And I think for the most part, yeah, it's done. But technically, it stays going till about the 30th of November. So there, I said it. I was wrong. Sorry. Thanks for correcting me. I don't remember who said it. There was like 5 of you out there that were freaking out about, oh no, and still November 30th. And you're right. We could see a rare, weird storm, I guess. Why not? We've seen a lot of weird things already in the last 2 years. So let's not count that out. But I wanted to mention this because this one seems to get a little bit more attention than the other systems that we have that, Lorenzo's a hurricane right now, a pretty strong one. And Jerry is a tropical cyclone, as Karen is a tropical storm. I just can't get over the name Karen. And I think so many of you know what I'm talking about too. So, all right. Here comes
Coming to get you, Jade.
YouTube police is back. U.S. Corn Belt worries, is most of the crop going to make it? Found this story on AccuWeather. I thought it was truthful and honest. They left out a couple. They made it sound like there's only 4 states that are doing bad right now. And they're talking about Michigan, which is bad. North Dakota, yes. North Carolina, not so much. Wisconsin is bad. They're forgetting Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, parts of Iowa. Those are also struggling with corn crops. But here we go. Low numbers jump off the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Looking like test scores a student would hide from his parents. 53, 58, 59, 59. Those are my exact test scores on my social studies test in 4th grade. For the corn industry, though, there are important must-see figures. They are the numbers for the percentage of corn that has dented in 4 states still struggling with the impact of rain and flooding during the 2019 season. Again, they only mentioned 4, but Indiana and Illinois definitely deserve to be in that list. They're worse than these 4 states combined. The states, of course, Michigan, North Dakota, North Carolina, and Wisconsin are struggling as the growing season winds down. They are also far off the average of pace for this time of year, meaning they're behind in their crops, 3 to 4 weeks. For comparison, the 5-year average of those states in terms of corn dented by this time, 82%, 91%, 89%, and 84%. Those all match the numbers that I was showing everybody, how grossly underdeveloped the corn is right now. Across the northern tier of the Corn Belt, they just haven't had the growing units this year, said AccuWeather senior meteorologist Jason Nichols. So that brings the question, is most of the crop going to make it to the finish there? And how much of it? While most of it will, said Nichols, a small percentage in the far northwest part of the Corn Belt may not. And that is accurate. Talking to Matt on a daily basis, or mostly a daily basis, but I get that sense of optimism from him as well. That, yeah, it's rough. We got some damaged crops out here in the state. Some places are underwater, some places are undeveloped. But he always tries to show me the silver lining of everything. You know, the other day he showed me some video of hail-damaged corn from a couple weeks ago, and then showed it a week later, and the leaves were brown, and some of the stalks were on the ground. But the corn was still going to produce a yield. So it's not always all gloom and doom when you get hail damage to a field or whenever the first frost actually kicks in. We talked about this. As long as we are at our black layer on the corn, frost, that's fine. In fact, you're going to root for the frost once you notice that black layer in your corn. Let's continue to read. And the hits just keep coming from the western and northwestern parts of the Corn Belt. Several rounds of rainfall followed by cooler air over the next 10 to 14 days will cause more growing and harvesting issues for the farmers. Because we're 3 to 4 weeks behind, we should be harvesting somewhere around the 1st and 2nd weeks of October. That's now being pushed back to November in some spots. The normal weekly rainfall for the northwestern corner of the Midwest at this time of year is usually about under an inch of rain. But there's going to be a narrow zone from Omaha towards Michigan, and that's that really severe rain that I showed you early this morning going across the Midwest. They could get up to 3 to 6 inches of rain just next week. So almost 6 to 7 times the amount of rain that usually falls is falling in a week in that part of the country. After the rain will come, colder air will in the northwest corner of the Corn Belt, according to AccuWeather meteorologists. It's not going to be cold enough for a widespread killing frost in most northwest areas, but it'll be cool enough that the mean temperature will be in the 40s and low 50s. There isn't much of any growth you'll get below 50 degrees. And it's going to just be cool enough that there won't be much growth anymore in that area starting this weekend, lasting into October. So in other words, I hope your fields are in great shape right now because that's it. This weekend, it's probably going to be done once we get these next few days of weather that we have coming through. As I mentioned this morning, major damaging snow can strike early in the fall. Weather Channel, I'm not going to go over this link again, but they give us a map and then they show us other storms. It's funny to me how they didn't even mention the 2014 8 feet of snow in Buffalo. They mentioned some snow event that happened in 2006. So, but I will show you this. Speaking of the storm, Historic winter storm. Guys, this is from NOAA, the National Weather Service. This is not some SOT.net or ElectroUverse, whatever it's called, AT&T Uverse.net. Okay, this is real news here from NOAA. And I know I don't like to use them as the truth, but from time to time, they're accurate when it comes to their watches and warnings. NOAA's not going to put the safety of millions of people in harm's way. So that's how I know. If they put the word historic on this, it's going to be historic. So what are we expecting in Minnesota or Montana? Heavy snowfall, blowing snow in mountains over the mountain passes, record cold temperatures, widespread valley snow, which will accumulate and impact the Sunday morning commute, strong north-northeast winds. Here's the impacts. Hazardous travel due to snow, life-threatening backcountry conditions, down trees and power lines, wind damage to docks and marinas, agriculture damage from record cold temperatures. Mari, you can probably share a laugh with me on this. The part where I read hazardous travel due to snow. I don't know if anybody's seen the movie Daddy's Home 2, but there's a scene where a road is shut down due to mountain snow. John Lithgow plays the father of Will Ferrell, and as the cop is explaining they can't go any further because of travel being hazardous, John Lithgow pops from the back seat and says, "Is it because of the snow? Is it the snow?" I know, I'm weird. I'm in my own head right now, guys. All that cold medicine. But yes, it's going to be the snow that's going to keep you from traveling. 18 to 36 inches is what some are calling for. Now, this is a chart right here. Let's zoom in just a little bit more. Here's the legend and the map. Phillipsburg 8 to 12 spots in Butte, Montana 8 to 12 inches. Helena 6 to 8. Martin's Pass 24 to 30 inches. That's the black, guys. Now the black that's showing up, that could be a potential 40 inches of snow, and that's probably going to be in your higher elevations. So this isn't just a dusting or a couple of inches. There's going to be some major snow accumulations that's going to cripple this part of the country. From Friday night, it's when it starts with the transition and goes all the way through Sunday. And by Monday, this system will lift out. So very, very interesting stuff that we have coming up for us. And like I said, Weather Channel did an article, and I'll just show you real quick, because they want to get you ready for this snow. That way you don't feel like it's a big deal. So here's the map. That same corner that's got the pink is where the snow's happening this weekend and spreading into October, basically. So it's just like, oh, nothing to see here, guys. Just another snowstorm. Hey, let's bring up some stats of other snowstorms that won't even be half as bad as this. Yeah. The 2017 Montana blizzard strikes. Again, how ironic is it that we're going to see another blizzard within 2 years from the last one, and this was in early October. This one's almost 2 years to the date, October 3rd, 2017. We've got snow starting on the 29th, rolling through the 30th. 29th, 30th, and the 1st. Actually, all the way through the 3rd, Montana will see snow in its state. So very ironic. 2 years. There's so many things that are correlating right now from 2 years ago this month. The solar activity was strong in 2017. We got a sudden burst of solar activity this year in September. Wasn't quite as strong. We did get a major hurricane in Dorian that was fueled by 2 G2 storms. But once those storms went away, once the solar forcing impact was over, the storm died and went down to a Cat 2 eventually, into a Cat 1. So, don't tell me our sun doesn't have anything to do with this. Just very ironic, 2 years after they set. Now, this record they broke here, by the way, 58 inches, nearly 5 feet of snow. All right. This record was set in 1909. So before they broke it in 2017, that record stood for over 100 years. And now this 100-year-old record is about to be broken again within just 2 years. It didn't take 100 years. It took 2 years. That should be an indication, folks, of how fast things are happening. Of course, we all remember Superstorm Sandy. Insane, 3 feet of snow, late October, not that early, but still, you know, usually we don't see that kind of snow in this region until December, January, February. But again, all these stories just to get everybody ready. Don't worry, it's okay, we've gotten these before. That's fine. That's fine, but when the 2017 storm broke a 100-year-old record, and now, 2 years later, we're going to smash that 100-year-old record and the 2-year-old record from that time as well. So, all right, let's take a look at our GFS now. And we'll watch the snow coming in. By the way, the Northwest, not much action until this snowstorm comes into play. Washington, Oregon, also expecting some snow showers from this, but Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, the Northern Rockies, you guys are going to really feel the effects of this as well. And by the time this storm finally moves out into Canada, still light snow showers by October 1st. So, and here is that line of rain that we were talking about earlier as well. If I can find my handy dandy little, here we go. This is the area that they were talking about in the Northwest Cornbelt that usually sees about 0.8 inches of rain at this time. As I advance this model, you'll see that we're going to get an intense line of rain showers. Look at that. So that's where they're expecting this 3 to 6 inches of rain during this time period right here. And after this system moves out, look at that, that's 2 to 3 days worth of rain right there. Slowly makes its way out. Cooler temperatures will be behind this. And like I said, by October 3rd, October 4th, everybody's going to feel the cooling effect of fall. The Northeast and the Northwest, you're going to be my coldest and wettest, especially the temperature-wise. The Northeast is going to back up. What is that? Of course, my screen freezes up. So something just caught my eye on this recent run here. Check out, pay attention, folks, to Northern California. Let's get the blue arrow back out without messing up the broadcast. Guys, watch this right here. Watch where my blue arrow is. Yeah. That is a cyclonic storm hitting the northern coast of California on October 5th. I think somebody needs to get Tropical Tidbits a drug test. Northwest, definitely going to get some wet patterns, folks. Northern California, now we're going to shift our attention to that side of the country. This is where things start to get wet, of course. There's that tropical disturbance, I think, that AccuWeather's talking about as well down here in the Gulf. Look how this, now we saw this storm a couple of days ago. It was just that, a storm. Now there's a low pressure cyclonic storm with it. So the idea was Mexico. This is where I was telling you about plural systems, as this is the second of the two systems. But watch the Northwest as well. Rain showers, a very bizarre storm, and I'm going to have to zoom out into a different region to look at this. But then that part of the country just keeps getting socked with wave after rain showers. And it's going to get messy in Florida too, guys. October 9th. Finally, by the 10th, that storm moves off the system. And some cooler air to follow in most parts, but also high pressure trying to establish itself once again to make some drier air. Now, this morning I showed you a forecast that showed it pretty dry for about 5 days in October after the 6th. But this new model run here shows that we are definitely going to get more rain. Temperatures. Hot in the south, southeast, Texas. Yep, still hot. But we start to see some cooling, of course, here in the northern part, especially Montana. Record-breaking cold is reaching into the United States, Idaho, Oregon, Washington, Montana, parts of Wyoming. Daytime highs, for the most part, in the Northwest, 40s, 50s, some 30s. During that storm, historic high temperatures, hovering in the mid-30s. They're showing 27 degrees in certain spots. That's probably going to be the areas where we're going to see the most snow too. 28 degrees, 29 degrees, anywhere near 30, 32. That's where the heavy wet snow is really going to play a big part into damaging infrastructure, trees, and power lines as well. And then we get one more blast of warm air across the Midwest into the East Coast on October 1st. It's almost like a April's Fool's on October 1st. But look at all the cold air here in Canada moving into the United States. Daytime highs are still going to feel like summer for Ohio, Indiana, Pennsylvania, and the rest of the region over there in the southeast, Texas, Oklahoma. But where it matters the most, October 2nd, your daytime high in McCook, Nebraska is 47 degrees. Sioux Falls, South Dakota, 38 degrees. Highs. Hays, Kansas, 50 degrees. Norton, Kansas, 50 degrees. Des Moines, Iowa, 53 degrees. I don't think anything's growing at this point, folks. Consider your grow season completely over at this point, as we see more cold air overnight hours now. These are overnight temperatures right here. But look at that line of cold to hot. There's your daytime highs. That warmer air gets compressed in the south and the southeast. Still hanging on to those summer-like temperatures down there. Daytime highs around here in the mid-40s in the northeast. More cold air coming in again, Montana. So honestly, guys, not much of a fall for Montana. The area that's getting this blizzard storm, this historic storm that's coming, and we start to see even freezing temperatures flood into the northeast by the second week of October. So temperatures in Montana are going to be cold enough to freeze the ground for sure. Now, this snow is going to melt because we're going to see 40s and 50s and 60s. Obviously here, October 8th, we won't even remember that snowstorm with 70-degree weather. But my point I'm getting at is that this cold air that usually is here around late November, early December, and I'm staring at what's going on in upstate New York just because I live here, and it looks like it's about to get cold here pretty quick. So enjoy the warm weather while you still have it. Fall is here. Some places we're shifting right into winter, which is absolutely insane. I mean, we've heard about in the Southern Hemisphere how the winter arrived 2 months early down there as well. So I guess we shouldn't be surprised that it's happening now. All right, Mari, would you like to come over here and say hello to our wonderful audience that follows us? I'm going to get something here in the Pacific as well. Take a look at that rogue storm that's coming in.
Hi, Jake. Hi,
Hello.
everyone in the chat. Let's see if I took some notes, Jake. I feel like I have a case of the Monday as I've been running around so much today. I'm like, whew. Barbara said she did not get a notification, and she has gotten in the habit of personally checking our channel daily. Thank you so much for doing that, because we cannot rely on YouTube notifications. I try to also send out notifications on Twitter, Facebook, and also our website. I don't know, Jake, if while that's loading, if you could go to our website and show people the red bell.
Yes. I want to show people this real quick while you're talking. Keep going.
The red bell. He's not listening.
No, I'm not.
Richard Davidson said he also has given up on notifications for the channel. He never gets them unless it's an hour over. I'll show you guys the bell I'm talking about on the website another time.
Hold your horses.
Oh, you're going to show people, Jake?
Yeah, just hold your horses.
I don't know how well it'll show up. It's usually in the bottom corner. Just scroll down. Oh, you bat my hand away from the trackpad. Cheeky bugger. Anyway, Jake's gonna pull it up. Jesse has a t-shirt idea. As far as climate change goes, I'm 0.04% worried about CO2. Isn't that good?
It's clever.
It is.
I would wear it.
I think it's good. I might have to show people the screen. I think we're already oh, there's the bell.
All right.
But I don't know if it'll show up unless you move like that window up.
Yeah, I'll move this up a little bit for everybody.
See, everyone, the red bell in the lower left-hand corner of our website. When we publish our page with all the links, and it'll give you like the page. It'll have our YouTube link and then also links with all the descriptions. Our website has a way of notifications as well. I believe it works on most browsers.
Amari's there every day checking everything, so if it doesn't, she'll have it fixed soon.
I'm trying to be there more often. I sometimes, like, people don't use the site enough, and I go a couple days and then I get to it. So I had a couple people message me like, why aren't you responding to me? I'm sorry. I am spread thin with social media. So if I take a little time to get back to you, just know I will get back to you. It's just, I'm buried in so many different platforms. We're spread sort of thin. We're a 2-person operation.
Well, not only that, but we have thousands of subscribers.
We have tens of thousands of subscribers. Whether or not they see our content or not is another thing. But we have loads of people offering links, pictures, articles, everything. It takes a bit for me to get through everything. It could be a full-time job if it actually paid money, but it doesn't, so I can't do it all the time, unfortunately. Jake's pulling up our GSM community feed. Let me go to Matt Bros. He listens to radio every day, Truck and Corn every day. The news at the top of the hour either mentions global warming or Russia collusion, so hearing the bias is refreshing to him. It is sort of sickening. I don't know if people saw the Twitter with the girl, my girl, making fun of Greta. I got a kick out of it. I just an honest childhood reaction.
I know Lily, and that is her honest. That was not a fabricate. You couldn't have paid her to say it the way that's Lily.
She's very curious. She doesn't miss a beat. And when I'm doing projects like that, she'll peer over my shoulder and she'll ask me lots of questions. And she's very, very smart. For her
both
age,
of our kids, they love science and math.
No, she's just above par. Yep. And she gets it. I'll just say that. And when she heard Greta, and I told her how old Greta was, and I asked her, what do you think of this, being a kid, hearing this? What do you think about this? And she rolled her eyes and just was like, what a weirdo. Because she can see it's an extremist thing. And I think there's more kids out there like her. But my concern is that this mentality from Greta and other groups like this are going to sort of really have an effect on the youth. Really bad. It's to me, this is a huge issue, and it needs to be addressed. There's psychological issues, depression issues.
Let me stop you right there. You said that this will have effect on our children. You're 150,000% correct on this. David Birch, the Starman, on Twitter shared a retweet of a gentleman who got a frantic call from her wife, who works in a school. And a 14-year-old boy had committed suicide due to climate change inaction.
This is a real problem.
So now we're starting to, like, we just talked about this a couple nights ago with the nooses around their neck standing on the ice.
I'm really concerned.
Now it happens.
You know, the night of that climate strike, Jake can recall what I was like. It was like I was overwhelmed with how people responded to this climate strike, how everyone, all this youth in the world, 4 million kids, probably more than that, took part in it. And it's like they have no idea what it's about, what reality is. Some of them are lost, some of them have absent parents. It is proven fact, if you talk to child psychologists and professionals, that this is dangerous for children to be even touching at young ages. They can't discern this information properly, and shame on the schools for allowing these kids to partake in it and excusing them from the day. It's pitiful, and we need to get together a group just for children in climate change and offer some kind of support. I've been thinking about a climate for kids group, just to have some people that are knowledgeable on the subject, just to support kids with questions, because it's very concerning to me, the emotional and mental issues that this topic will put children through. And as you can see from my girl, she's very strong-minded, and if you have a good mindset and a willingness to adapt and learn, it's not doom and gloom. And we try to steer away from the sensationalism, doom and gloom. I don't go into this thinking it's all doom and gloom, and neither should anyone else, because really, you get what you wish for a lot of times, I think. Don't you, Jake? It's like a vibration thing. If you have good energy and put good energy out, you'll get that back. And if the whole world is just full of negative energy and vibes, everyone's going to be weighed down, and it will be doom and gloom. It's an attitude, it's a mindset, and we have to change that, and it starts with our children, so...
And I'll be honest with you, too, right now, I don't even know if I want my kids going to college and universities until we get this problem fixed. And it's not just with climate, it's with everything. It's what these professors are teaching these kids. Why do you think we have all these millennials with the ideas that they have? Where do you think they're getting this stuff from? It's not from at home watching cartoons. It's the education system. Some of these colleges, some of these radical professors, and some of these once well-known, credible colleges are now full of left-wing liberals who are teaching our kids things that our grandparents and great-grandparents will be rolling in their graves over. So
I'm sad for our children's generation, but at the same time, I have hope, and it's not too late to try to switch gears. But it takes action on a large scale. Yep. And people need to participate.
And our kids won't have to worry about drinking the Kool-Aid. So.
If you're interested in helping me with a group like that, please message me. It would have to be 100% kid safe and friendly. I'm very passionate about that. So leave a message in the comments, and maybe we can actually get something going. You know, I know my plate is like over full as it is, but this is like, we have to prioritize things, and our children are the reason why we're all listening to this channel, trying to figure things out together.
Thank you, Mari, for that report. And again, thank you all who continue to show up on every time we do a live broadcast and participate with chat with Mari. Again, Mari kind of mans the chat for me, but she's also the quarterback of this team, running the website, running the YouTube channel, all the social media accounts. So again, folks, if we don't get back to you right away, you got to understand, we both have full-time jobs, plus this is in our free time when we can get to it. So be patient with us. Also, don't forget, check out the Patreon if you guys want to be a part of the call-in shows on Saturday nights at 8 p.m. $1 to join. We'll get you in on the call show. So
don't be shy.
With that being said, that's going to do it for us tonight, folks. Thank you for tuning in for another Grand Solar Minimum News Update. We'll be back live Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, take care, and we will talk soon. Don't forget our morning update as well.
Do you like this show? Give us a thumbs up. Want to support us more? Share to your favorite social media platform. Buy a t-shirt or become a Patreon. All links are in the description below.